This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Oh my God. Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye there.
Greg Gutfeld thinks everything is funny, especially his own bad jokes. So to make a point about how people are accurately talking and depicting ICE agents who are running through the streets and snatching people off the streets, taking American citizens and detaining them based off of what they deem is what must be an illegal immigrant. And then when they get called the Nazi and the Gestapos that they all are, his response is to come up with that bad joke and somehow compare that to, we need to reclaim the term. So let's go ahead and break down the full thought process that was just so damn funny. You're reclaiming the term Nazi because apparently you're self-admitting that you're a Nazi, despite the fact that they all defended Elon Musk that was letting everyone know on Inauguration Day, yo, the Nazis are now in charge. When you defended that and then that didn't work, the next step, I guess now, is to say, yeah, sure, you got us, but we have to reclaim the term and lessen the blow of the reality of what that is and what it is that Nazis like himself do, the types of things that they believe in. So he's reclaiming the term Nazi because he's comparing it to the way this derogatory statement that was put on folks that were brought here generations ago to build this entire country, another form of a genocide that was brought to this country to build the country, and to now still have lesser rights, still be seen as lesser human beings. And in given those terms during civil rights eras and the time that we were trying to get to some level of equality in this country, when that term gets used, which many black folks don't like to use, dumbass, as some folks use it and it's called a reclamation of that term, he's going to compare it to he and his white folks and their favorited term of being a Nazi because they're not Nazis. This is just his roundabout way of saying that, yeah, sure, you're right, you got us. We're Nazis. Go ahead and F off, I guess, is the next step. Let me give you another glimpse into Greg Gutfeld's mind, the way he thinks about black folks. Because again, in order to be this type of person, you have to think certain folks are lesser than you, and maybe they're more like childlike.
Two mass shootings. So it's rare, it's ugly, it's rare, but it sure as hell ain't the number one threat. That is the most obvious lie you could come up with. So he is lying. You have to ask, why do you lie to black people? Why do you lie to black people? Why do liberals feel that they have to do that? Because they need to keep blacks angry. They need to keep blacks close to them, right? This does not serve black people. If it doesn't serve black people, it doesn't serve white people either, because it creates conflict. The people who need to cleave blacks from whites do so because they realize there is profit in discontent. They're rent-seeking. As long as there's a problem, whether it's racism or whether it's homelessness. $1 billion went to homelessness. We don't know where it went because you need a persistent crisis in order to keep your job. Consultants and corporations, right? Activists. You got to keep this lie going. And once blacks walk away from this lie, oh, they're going to be happy, but they're going to be pissed. And I'm so going to be there for that.
You know, these subordinate blacks that don't know how to think for themselves continue to get used and jerked around by certain folks who want to keep them upset because they're childlike and they can't think. They go and fly by and believe any of the BS that these damn Dems talk about. If he's ever actually spoken to a black person that pays attention to anything that's going on, you know that black folks who generally vote Democratic know that Democrats are on a very short leash and we understand how they act. We understand many of the motivations. But obviously, when it comes to the Republican Party and how they've openly attacked and targeted black folks and other minorities in this country, I think you can understand why they're like, well, let's maybe lean more towards the party that we can influence to a degree versus the one who literally said, I want you dead. Because he's obviously just told us he's a Nazi with the hard I. Because that's funny. You know, remember that was supposed to be funny? That's how he thinks about people that are lesser than him. Matter of fact, this is how he thinks about other folks who are part of a genocide. Remember, he had this to say about Jewish folks and their usefulness in concentration camps. I just want to give you guys a full scope of the way Greg Gutfeld thinks while he tells effing jokes.
Frankly, I'm just fundamentally uncomfortable with the sentence that blacks benefited at all from this. And it made me think, as someone, obviously I'm not black, but I'm Jewish. Would someone say about the Holocaust, for instance, that there were some benefits for Jews, right? While they were hanging out in concentration camps, you learned a strong work ethic, right? Maybe you learned a new skill.
Did you ever read Man's Search for Meaning? Vic Frankl talks about how you had to survive in a concentration camp by having skills. You had to be useful. Utility kept you alive.
We're also talking about middle schoolers here. And there's a lot of concern about what age people are prepared to understand complex issues.
If you think about those two topics that Greg Gutfeld was talking about, that last one being about concentration camps and the victims of the Holocaust, who apparently learned to trade, learned how to survive longer by working for their oppressors, because, I guess they were happily doing that. It's the same thought process that they had towards enslaved folks in this country, where they said, they were put on farms. That's the way they're trying to change the types of curriculum and the way that they describe this. And I believe that's what they were going about there as well. But before that, it was about how white supremacists lead the country with domestic terrorism attacks. It's been numbers that were floated way back when Donald Trump was in for the first time. He wanted to make sure those numbers weren't put out way too broadly, in case people could realize when we have domestic terror attacks, it's usually done by these right-wing militia type of folks who are stoked by the MAGA movement. So they don't want that connection to take place. So they do things like that and say, look, the blacks are getting pulled around and yanked and are part of this whole divisive nature of our political system. Oh, and also Jewish folks, or folks that were murdered in the Holocaust, the ones that survived, they survived because they picked up a skill to make sure that they helped their oppressors kill more of their own people. Did you ever think about that, Jessica? One of those survivors at the time, I just want to give you guys the whole scope, had a response to Greg Gutfeld and his stupidity.
As a Holocaust survivor, what do you think about what you just heard being said there in that clip from Fox News?
Well, I'm disgusted, basically. My father was an accountant, and he had basically negotiating skills. He and my brother were gassed in Auschwitz. My mother learned how to pack bullets that killed Jewish people. There were over 6 million people killed in the Holocaust, over 1 million people killed in Auschwitz. And there is no silver lining to killing 6 million people or talking about slaves and the benefits of slaves and learning and what they were doing.
Things like saying, I think we should take lessons from the blacks and start reclaiming Nazi. That's supposed to be a joke, but it's also supposed to be something that lessens the accusation and the easily provable evidence that shows these folks that are taking part in Nazi types of activities and agendas. It's the same thing. Like, you can see it. Like, you can be mad that folks called Donald Trump Hitler. I'm sorry, that J.D. Vance, his vice presidential candidate, called Donald Trump Hitler. You can be upset at J.D. Vance for calling Donald Trump Hitler, because J.D. Vance called Donald Trump America's Hitler before he was allowed to be Hitler's vice president. But before that, he was saying it accurately. And saying it accurately is pretty devastating when you back that up with the facts of the way that he's acting. And before he was even acting that way and had the power that he now has, many folks were saying, yo, this guy's a fascist and he's going to start acting the way that he's told us he's going to be acting. So now that we have to cover all that up, we need to start saying things like, let's reclaim Nazi.